Hey Ryan, look. It's Ant-Man.
While Ant-Man may be Marvel's smallest superhero, he makes up for his lack of size with a lot of big laughs and a lot of big action sequences in Ant-Man with Paul Rudd.
So Paul Rudd stars as Scott Lang, who is not your typical superhero. In fact, he's a thief. And this was attracts Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, to enlist him in stopping the latest Marvel villain.
So let's get right into it. What did you think of this movie?
What I liked about this movie was that it was such a self-contained story. I mean, this Ant-Man's not saving the world. Cities aren't dropping out of the sky. This is him trying to stop. Basically, essentially, the mission takes place in a building, and the other fight scenes take place in a house. Like, you spend a lot of time in his apartment, spend a lot of time like in these work buildings and he's training, but it's never like a huge landscape of setting. Like,
it's not as deep and as heavy as some of the other movies. Like, it was sort of a breath of fresh air, if you will, in that it's not like the Avengers where there's just explosions going on left and right, aliens and God knows what else coming
and
just
that's
exploding.
what I really like that about this. Like, how many times can you watch them save the world? This was nice.
I think it was easy to follow because of the scale being. Yeah. I mean, forgive all the puns with size, but shrink down.
Yeah. Talking about shrinking down, I thought that the special effects and every time he shrank and got small looked incredible. I don't know if you guys will have a chance to see it in 3D, but this is one that I strongly recommend because when he shrinks down, it's the background and everything that has him is so out of focus and fuzzy, like where that you really get the depth of how small he is in the world around him.
I'm actually glad you said that. I was going to say, I usually don't like seeing movies in 3D. I find it a little bit distracting. I liked it in this movie. I feel like you get robbed a little bit of the experience if you don't see Ant-Man.
Oh, absolutely.
You won't, it's definitely worth the extra couple shackles to go see it in 3D.
And any time that he's small and he's running around, either be in a sewer or in a house, it is so entertaining. Because you see all these objects that are just like the way they portrayed it, and it looks so real. It doesn't look like a tiny little guy that's a CGI. I mean, if maybe you look down really to the nitty gritty, but from watching it, I couldn't tell that it wasn't Paul Rudd running around in those scenes. I thought it looked great, and I really appreciate that. It's really engrossed me into the experience.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the actor since you mentioned Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd was good in this movie. He was great. He was, what you would expect in this role. What did you think? I
thought that he was excellent. I thought he really sold it as being the role that they gave him as like a con man with the heart of gold and a Robin Hood in that sense.
Paul Rudd was great in this movie. If anything, my only criticism I'd have is he was underutilized. Paul Rudd's been in some of my favorite comedies of all time. He was in The 40-Year-Old Virgin. He was in Knocked Up. He was in Role Models, one of my favorite comedies. He's great. He's great in every movie he does. I felt like they didn't write to his character as much as, or to his acting abilities as much as I would have liked. I like him a little bit better whenever he's, I don't know, like improvising just a little bit. And the laughs were a little bit cheap, and I get it. It's more of a kids type movie, but I felt like he could have been a little bit funnier in this movie. I'll just blame that on the writing. Well, I won't blame that on Paul Rudd.
Whatever that Paul Rudd you're missing from, Michael Pena totally made up for it comes to humor. He was awesome though. I thought he was great in the role they gave him as his like accomplice. His little rag team of like crooks was great.
T.I. was in this movie. Yeah. I thought T.I. was actually funnier than he was. I thought T.I. was some good comic relief.
Yeah,
some good one-liners.
They definitely had very comic relief. I thought that Michael Douglas was excellent in this movie. It's good to finally see Michael Douglas in a good movie. I mean, last few movies he's made, it's like, Michael, what are you doing? But he was excellent as the older and mentor role of Hank Pym.
I thought he was good in this movie. I don't really have any complaints there. He was pretty good in this movie.
And definitely stay for the mid credits and end credits. End credits especially, because that had an awesome scene that sets up the next movie being Captain America: Civil War, which Ant-Man will be in, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than whenever there's two separate endings after the credit starts, because the first one, half the theater's still there for, but then when you get to the second ending and there's only like 5 people left, you're like, ha, you guys are idiots. Yeah. You're such idiots.
Half the time it's like, don't you know this is a Marvel movie? They freaking do it every time. Why are you not staying for this? I'm really looking forward to seeing Paul Rudd play with the other Avengers. I mean, I'm just thinking of the jokes and the contrast that he'll have with Robert Downey Jr. and Thor and just Chris Evans as Captain America. It should be a lot of fun, and he'll bring a unique dynamic to the group. So Ant-Man for me had great set pieces that were hilarious and cool at the same time, awesome cast, and just a nice contained story. And I really enjoyed it. There was never a moment that I was bored or out like anything. I loved it. So for me, I'm getting an 8.5 reels out of 10.
And for me, Ant-Man is a good, solid movie. There's a lot of things going right with this movie. It's nice and lighthearted compared to some of the other Marvel stuff that's out there. Paul Rudd's good. The action sequences are good. Michael Douglas is good. Is it Iron Man? No. Is it Guardians of the Galaxy? No. But it's definitely up there. I give this 7 reels out of 10.
Definitely don't miss this one in theaters. If you were on the fence about it, thinking, oh, I don't know if I should go see this, see it. You'll enjoy it.
And this has been our opinions on the Ant-Man movie. And as opinions go, everybody has one. Ours just happens to be correct. So if you liked the review that we gave of Ant-Man, or if you enjoyed Ant-Man at all, feel free to leave us some feedback on our YouTube channel below. We'd be happy to hear what your favorite Marvel movie is.
And this has been The Real Report with Ryan and Ryan. Until then, catch you next time.